everyone. Welcome to Off the Shelf on this beautiful Friday morning. I'm gonna have positive vibes that today is gonna be a gorgeous day because sunshine. Because do you know what tonight is?
My nephew's bachelorette.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's what you were thinking of, wasn't it?
No, that's not what I was thinking of. The wonderful Delaware Hayes Pacers are graduating tonight. It's graduation season.
So exciting.
Yeah, so those seniors are going to graduate tonight, and from what I know, it is an outdoor ceremony. So we all have to do the not rain dance.
I don't even know where I'm going for the bachelorette. I don't even think I'm saying it right.
Maybe it's indoors. Or maybe. I don't know. Well, friends, that is our co-host, Molly Meyers, LaBadie. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning, Nicole.
And we have Gage on the board. Hello, Gage.
Word of advice, charge your devices before the workday.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good...
just charge your devices. Yeah. Everything I pull out is dead, and I'm like, well...
I use my iPad to operate the Facebook stream, right? And every other day, I'm usually fine at charging my devices. But Fridays, for whatever reason...
Fridays.
I never charge my device. And Mark is like, well, maybe it's just because of that library show. Like,
because we're going to tempt you to use all of your devices with library things.
You need like a Be Kind, Please Rewind, except you need like a Be Kind, charge your devices, like hanging out on your,
that's right,
on all of your stuff. Awesome. Well, we have a guest joining us possibly this hour, and so we will have her come in a little bit later. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about some of the things that we've been like reading, watching, listening to. What do you have going on, Molly?
So, and I had it open and I just closed it. The book that I just read, actually a really short one, but it's called The Comfort Book by Matt Haig.
Oh, okay.
So, we're getting into my happy season. If you know me, you know that I like outside and I like sun. And sometimes I think you walk in my office and you just see me staring, mumbling to myself, outside. I want to go outside.
Look at the sunshine.
So we're getting to the point where I'm feeling good. I'm getting that natural vitamin D every day. I've had my first accidental sunburn. Seriously, it was after 2:00. That should not have happened. But, for all of us, life's hard. We don't talk enough about, like, you roll on a couple, good days, you have a couple bad days. Some good days. We're not in control of things. So Matt Haig, who, if you know him, he's most known right now for the Midnight Library, I believe. Mm-hmm. But he wrote this short little book. You can actually get it on audio. I was driving back from a presentation, and I'm always, like, really hard on myself. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to something that lifts me up. This book is wonderful. And he has a quote that I kind of want to read in here that is amazing. It is a strange paradox that many of the clearest, most comforting life lessons are learned while we are at our lowest. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to be coming out of that to see it. But he's got a book to make you feel comfortable, to make you feel a little better. We keep saying it's okay to not be okay, but do something. And Matt Haig has so many ideas. He has filled this book with little encouragements, with stories and facts. He's got lists. My favorite, he was listing all the most comforting movies he likes to watch. Mm-hmm. And they're all his opinion. But it kind of makes you start thinking, like
what would be on my list?
My list. Right. I mean, I have always watched, I love girly movies. I love Legally Blonde, but my favorite movie of all time is Auntie Mame. And I remember getting really down, like in college or when I was, first moved to Columbus and I was all alone. And I would just put Auntie Mame on and be like, life's good. I'm going to go do something weird. And then, that's been my life motto since. So when I get down, I swear, if I get too down, my husband looks at me and he's like, is it time for a road trip to some weird museum, Molly? Has somebody swallowed something and we need to see the collection of what they swallowed, or which we have done?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Do we need to find random body parts collected?
I know you'd love that. Do you want to see how somebody has turned their backyard into like a Mothman exhibit or an alien landing site? And I am always like, yes, please. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I come back, the energy's back. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So, Matt Haig, he'll kind of remind you in the simple things where to start finding that comfort, that joy. So Matt Haig's The Comfort Book. It's simple. It's short. It's a great audio. Just enjoy it. If you're feeling a little down, keep it on the side. If you're not, just for the day you need it.
Yeah.
It's not therapy, but
in its own way, sure.
it is in its own way,
Yeah.
but it's a nice, it's a nice reminder of, things do get low
Right.
and you will be strong.
There are two things that I have heard, so much recently that when you're feeling low, you can do two things to kind of help yourself feel better. One is to really write your gratitude.
Yes.
To have that attitude of gratitude. To take a pencil. There is something about holding a pencil and writing things down, because you have multiple senses then connecting with what you're doing. Your eyes are focusing on what you're writing. Your brain is focusing on what you're writing, and you have the sense of touch that's actually putting it on paper and writing it down. And so if you write down what you're grateful for, that can help you refocus a kind of blue mood.
Do you want to hear a Molly twist on that?
I sure do.
So when I was a new trainer, I was having that imposter syndrome, and I was like, everybody thinks I know what I'm doing and I have no idea. And so the little sticky notes that are meant to be like index page turners, the tiny ones? So every day I would come in and in the tiniest print, I would write something I was grateful for on one of those. And then I just started a pile on my desk.
Yeah.
And by the end of the year, I had written one, I think, every work day. There was this huge pile.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, wow, I've got a lot more going on than I can see in a moment. And it was just growing as it went.
Yeah.
And it really did work.
Oh,
but
yeah.
little teeny tiny, and then it doesn't take up,
Right.
Opening a book to me, a journal, is overwhelming. Filling out one little sticky note that doesn't even have to have a second.
Right. Journaling is definitely intimidating. The other thing that I found that is a good way to kind of get yourself out of kind of a funk is to stop focusing on yourself and start focusing on other people.
Yes.
Acts of service. Okay, so I feel really bad, but what can I do for Molly today? What can I do for Gage today? And so when you start focusing on other people, then it gives you a totally different perspective on, your need and how you can serve others. And it's something little that you can do too if, you're feeling overwhelmed by the news, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the world, the weight of the world is upon me.
Or just fairly bad stuff seems to come in groups. I don't think I've ever had one bad thing not followed by more bad things. It's the same thing though with joy. Joy comes in groups. You have a good thing, and then good thing, and then bad things.
Right.
Life is a roller coaster, and we just got to ride the hill down so we can, enjoy the view at the top.
And it can be, you put your money out there, $25 to give to a charity that feeds people where there's been a hurricane. Or it can be your time. How can I go and how can I box the food to feed people who
Pick
have
trash
had a
up in your own neighborhood so your neighbors
Right.
have a nicer drive to work.
Exactly.
Simple things that don't have to cost money either. I feel like giving's become this pressury thing when your time is so needed everywhere.
Absolutely.
If you want to come, pick up trash around our libraries, we love you.
Oh, that'd be
come
great.
on,
How
we'd love it.
wonderful.
It would make our days. I know one person in particular who would love that. Our facilities manager.
She would. Well, that was your TED Talk.
Yes, my TED Talk.
For the morning, it was wonderful. I have been working on some books written by our authors that are coming this summer. We have Lisa C., who is coming on Wednesday, June 14th to the Liberty Branch Library.
So excited to see that library in use that way.
Yeah, she's being brought by our Friends of the Library group, and she does have a ticket fee with her visit. That will get you your reserved seat in the room, and it'll also get you a book. And
that's so exciting.
It's her brand new book that's coming out. So if you get your ticket, you can get your book in advance from Beanbag Books if you want to speed read it right before her visit, or you can just get it the night of.
Or you can be like me and get the audio and listen to it, and then you have the actual book in your hand when she's talking, so you can relook at all your favorite quotes.
She has such a compendium of work. I am recommending today On Gold Mountain by Lisa C. This is pretty much her autobiography. So On Gold Mountain describes, you'll realize with Lisa C's work, she focuses on women. She focuses on historic characters, particularly of Chinese descent. And, by looking at her, you might not think that she herself is a woman of Chinese descent, but she in fact is. So On Gold Mountain gives the story about Lisa C's childhood.
Aww.
So when she was a young girl,
I
she
love
spent her
biographies.
summers. Yeah, she spent her summers in the dark recesses of her family's antique store in Los Angeles' Chinatown.
Okay, stop making this better and better every second.
It's going to be wonderful.
I have other things to read.
Well, I know, and she's got a lot of like really, really good ones. So this is a good place to start if you want to know like the person of Lisa C
Yes.
before she comes. So her grandmother and her great aunt are both there. Grandmother and great aunt, so they're sisters, and they're telling her the intriguing and colorful stories about her family's past. So if you're a person who loves to dig into your family history, this is what Lisa's doing with this story. So they're talking about just lots of different things, glamorous nightclubs, the determination of the Chinese people to overcome the laws of the time that were not written in their favor, discrimination. And then they talk about how her great-great-grandfather emigrated from his Chinese village to the United States to work on building the Transcontinental Railroad.
I always want to know more about that.
We are in the national recognition of Asian American Pacific Islander Month.
Yes.
And this is a really great story if you want to dive into some of those stories. The reason why that happens in May is because of that Transcontinental Railroad. It was relied on so heavily for the Chinese immigrants to build it.
Yes.
And they really had terrible working conditions that weren't recognized. And so in the 1970s, when this bill was first brought to legislation consideration, they really were like, well, when would it happen? And so it really landed in May.
Our country would not have expanded or grown or anything without these railroads. And we need to acknowledge when the things that moved us forward held someone else back.
Exactly.
And put them in peril.
And without the work of those individuals, it would not have happened. The other fun fact that you'll get in this book is that he was, the great-grandfather, was one of the founders of Chinatown in
Seriously?
In San Francisco.
Oh, this just gets better.
And so she's telling the story in Los Angeles Chinatown, but I believe that the grandfather's story is talking about the San Francisco Chinatown. But you could just read the book and find out for yourself.
San Francisco
and then prove me wrong.
is on my bucket list for so many reasons. I mean, so many reasons.
Yeah.
Chinatown is a big one too.
Yeah. So read On Gold Mountain if you want the story, if you want Lisa's story, and then we'll come back in the next couple of weeks and I'll talk about some of the other books that she's written that she'll be talking about when she visits on June 14th. So until then, we are going to take a break. We'll see you on the other side when we'll be talking about some of the things that teens are getting into this week with studies and finals. So stay tuned. We're here. It's a crazy day.
Crazy day.
It's Off the Shelf with Delaware County District Library. I'm your host, Nicole Fowles. Host Molly Meyers LaBadie.
Always happy to be here.
Gage on the board. Hello. And then joining us in studio, Melissa Dougherty. I always want to, I'm like, is it a Doherty or a Dougherty? Because it can go both ways.
I really always confuse the people that work in the office with me because I will say it both ways depending on if the person on the phone needs to spell it phonetically.
Oh.
Because there's so many times, like, I've made a doctor's appointment or a reservation, and I show up and I'm like, Dougherty, and they're like, no, we don't have you.
And I had such an easy name before I got married. I enjoy watching people. Like, it's normally Molly LaBadie, but, I don't think I corrected George for like a year. He said it the French way, and it was LaBadie.
Yes.
And I was like, I really like it. Let's go with that
So
one.
sophisticated.
So Lloyd's a little more particular, but I'm like, oh, have fun with it. I do.
My maiden name was Hennessy, which most commonly got misunderstood as Tennessee.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I also was in Alabama. They're like, oh, are you like rich? Do you own all of Tennessee?
The state was named
Yes,
after you.
yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Correct answer, Melissa.
Well, Melissa is our Assistant Branch Manager of Youth Services at the Orange Branch Library. There's so many wonderful things happening at the Orange Branch, but right now we are in the middle of Student Study Corner happening as those teens get ready for exam week. How's it going?
I think so far it's going really well. Our teens are so awesome. And I know how hard they've been preparing. They've also, a lot of them have been doing volunteer training this week and last week. But we've got our student study corner set up in our teen zone. So we've got that big roll door closed down. So it's a nice enclosed space, nice and quiet. But we've got a lot of other stuff in there to kind of like give your brain a break too.
Okay.
So we've got some coloring books if you're like, I just need to space out and relax. We've got some like stress balls, we've got fidgets, but then we've also got all the kind of stuff like pens, pencils, notebook, paper, everything that you need to help your studies, a bunch of books that we've pulled in there.
Yeah.
And so we've got that nice little corner where they can focus in or they can just relax, whatever you need for this exam season.
That relaxing lets your brain, like when you're coloring that hand-eye coordination, there's so many studies on like it's letting your brain really think and, you know, but also have a little fun.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing for the teens. We have so many resources at their fingertips at the library too. So, you know, if they are like writing a paper and they need a quick resource, they can just pop right out, or they can go right onto our website. I want to give a quick plug. Brain Fuse. Yeah. Have you used it? Do you know a thing or two about it?
It's so helpful. So that's always my go-to when people are like, oh, do you have any tutors? Do you tutor? Right. I don't tutor. You don't want me to tutor. That is not something that would actually help your team.
Don't ask me to do math.
And so I always, if you go onto our website, we've got so many resources, and Brain Fuse is one of those right in there. And you can actually get some live one-on-one tutoring through Brain Fuse.
It's wonderful, yeah.
They have a writing center too. So if you have somebody who's writing a term paper, you need to give time. So if you're writing it today for it to be turned in tomorrow, that's not going to work out. But if you're writing it today to be turned in on Wednesday, you might actually have a minute to get some feedback. You hop onto our resources page, click on Brain Fuse, go to the writing center, you upload your document, and then you're going to get somebody who's going to write you back, and they're not going to rewrite it for you. They are going to give you the suggestions that say, your opening is a little weak. How could we think about tweaking this? These, points that you're making to support don't really line up. How can we figure that out too? So the writing center, and then you should get that back in about a day. It's a great way for you to then take those edits and put them in to have your best final paper. And the other cool thing that I learned, because one of their reps called me, was it's not just your term papers. It's like if you're writing college application essays.
Oh, how useful.
You could turn in your college application essays or grants, scholarships, and you have to write essays for that. You could turn those in and get your feedback too.
And sometimes just getting that feedback also makes you kind of work on it. Makes it feel not as overwhelming. Because I remember when my nephew was writing his, he definitely wasn't coming for me for editing, the commas, the periods. But he was coming just so I would be like, okay, so now I'm going to make you put this in here and we'll take stuff out, but I need you to drop some more in there. And have you thought about asking yourself this question? What does that put into there? And it was just somebody to help him sit down and write. Yeah. He just needed to write. And then it didn't hurt. We went to Grandma's and he got pie with it.
Well, yeah,
so
absolutely.
Grandma makes good pie, Mom, if you're listening. I'll take some more rhubarb pie if there's any. Save a little for me.
Well, the Student Study Corner is going on right now during our open hours. It's going to happen today, this whole weekend, all the way through next Wednesday during our open hours. So stop by anytime. But the other cool thing that's coming that you were saying you're super busy with right now is Summer Reading Club.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. The official start date is May 30th. All the youth staff have been seeing thousands of children over the past few weeks. I've got 2 of my staff members are at a school visit right now. I did one yesterday. I did one the day before that. I did one the day before that. We have been knocking them out.
What is the theme? I am so excited about the theme this year.
This year, our theme is camping, which is the perfect summer reading club theme. Yeah. Who doesn't want to go to camp in the summer?
I'm telling you, I was a camp counselor for 2 summers, and I would still be doing it if it made enough to actually live on.
Yes.
Give me a platform tent. Give me an open fire to cook my meal. I don't even, kids don't do that anymore, do they? Live in a platform tent with an open fire, cooking all your meals.
My son would try.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Give me your son. I got this. Leo and I, we're great.
Summer Reading Club is so much fun. We're going to talk about it next week when we have Kelly on as our guest. And Kelly's our youth services program coordinator. And so she's going to give us like the whole nitty gritty. But one of the cool things that really, the goal is reading. But the other, half of the goal is like come in and experience the library. We've got lots of things to continue learning over the summer. And so we've got programs. So one of the first ones that you come like right out the gate on Tuesday, May 30th is you got teen comic making with Brian Moss.
Oh, you've got Moss coming in.
We're so excited.
I love Brian. I love Brian so much.
Have you ever seen Brian's art before?
So I've seen his art, but I haven't. I know he's done a lot of programs in the area before.
Right.
And our teen librarian, Rachel, is in charge of this one, and she's super excited. She has been telling me all about it.
I have known Brian for years. He's worked at the Columbus Museum of Art. He's done, libraries around the area, lots of different artistic things. He's recognized for, he did one of those White Castle cups when they did local artists for their anniversary.
Yeah.
He did one of those. I mean, and he's just the best guy, the best guy in the world. So
The teens are
I'm
going to
go
have a
rub
good
into
time.
Lloyd. He's coming to my library night, his library next.
We've also we're focusing on programs at the Orange Branch Library happening this summer reading club. We also have Magic Nate coming.
Oh, Magic Nate.
Magic Nate will be on Tuesday, June 6th. Magic, comedy, music, and mimery.
Ooh.
Yeah, Nate does a little bit of a quiet show, and it's like kind of genius. It really
Oh, I need to go to
it's
that.
the opposite of what you would expect from magicians who are big and flashy. Nate really brings in the focus, especially with the fact that he's not using his words to showman you. He's using everything else. It's very cool.
I
how he
love
does it.
something new.
Yes,
I'm going to
yes.
have to try to be there.
We
I'm just going to
have-
be camping out
Just hang
with
out.
you.
You can camp.
I'm going to
for
camp.
Camp DCDL
There
at the
you
Orange
go.
Library.
We have a really unique group that comes sometimes too. It is Emergency Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
I love them. So I remember
Wait,
last
what?
year.
Yes.
Last year we got an email and we're like, okay, Emergency Plumbing wants to do a program. And we're like,
How?
What?
What?
What? What
Yes.
is all the W's? What, when, where,
Yes.
how,
Why?
and always how. But it was phenomenal. All
Yes.
the kids loved it. It ended up being a lot of puzzle making, more engineering challenges.
Which is plumbing.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things that they did was they just gave the kids a bunch of pipes.
Yes.
And they said
Oh
you
my
have to get
gosh.
the water from here to there. And then the kids were in teams and they had to race to put all these pipes. And they're not just straight pipes. You can't just click, 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 put them together. You have a line. There are all these bends. So they have to make this crazy curving shape.
Do they do this for grown-ups?
At COSI. At COSI, they do it for
It was
grown-ups.
so cool. And then he pours in the water. You try to see if there's any leaks. And you get points taken off if you have leaks. And then to
You've
see
made my day with this.
It is amazing. It is so much fun. They are such a cool organization. One of our librarians was pumped because she was like, oh, emergency plumbing really did help me in my plumbing emergency.
my gosh.
They came out to her house in the middle of the night and she was like, I love them. Can I be at this program? And I was like, yes.
It's
I
really-
You know
will let
what?
you
If
be in
your
charge of
kids
this
are
program.
into Mario this year, this is going to be the program. This is the
Brilliant.
year.
Yes.
I am brilliant.
You are
Thank you for
brilliant.
noticing.
Yes.
But oh my gosh, the year I just saw the movie
Yes.
because that is what I do with Lloyd. It's great. But it was fantastic. I couldn't stop laughing, and I have to say, I kind of want to put on my own Mario
Yeah.
costume and come.
That's a great idea.
Wow.
Well, we have hit just some of the highlights. The Drainline Puzzle Challenge that we were just talking about will be Monday, June 12th at 2 o'clock at the Orange Branch Library. Don't miss it. Visit DelawareLibrary.org/event to see all of the things that are happening at all of the branches this summer. Melissa, we're so happy that you could make it.
Oh, thanks.
Molly, I hope you have a good
Bachelorette
tonight.
Lloyd said stop calling it a bachelorette because Emma doesn't go to a bachelorette for graduating. And I
Right,
was like,
right.
well, that makes sense.
Yes.
He can say it.
All
I
right.
just can't.
And congratulations to the Pacers who are graduating tonight. And until next week, we will see you.